the day. As per usual, while I'm waiting for folks to come in and join us, I geek out about a tool that I have. And normally I'm geeking out about something on my tool bench or things that I'm fascinated with. But this week, I get often asked what is my favorite tool. And so I wanted to geek out and show you. Okay, prepare to have your mind blown. It's my pencils. I use them all the time. This is absolutely my favorite tool, and they're used for different reasons and different things. So, yeah. And then also my pencil sharpener, which you'd be surprised that even taking the blade out of this, TSA is still pretty insistent on not letting you go hang out with that. So, anyway, yeah. So that's me geeking out with my favorite tool this week, and so I'm going to actually bring on my co-host and good friend, Scott. Actually, he's not quite on yet. Oops. Hang on. Anyways, I hope you all are having a fabulous day. I'm very, very excited about this week because I get to hang out and chat with a very good friend of mine who I've known for a long time, Josh Temple, and also his work with Boys Town. And so this is actually very exciting because it's really interesting to find out what folks are doing and kind of how people are giving back and what they are doing and participating. So it is definitely a nice opportunity to not only catch up, but then also see what folks are doing. So I know that SEFCA has a lot of great programs and services that they offer. And I'm also really excited to start off and chat with Scott and see what's up. I'm sure we're having a little bit slow. So until then, I'm just going to geek out for another minute. I know there are a lot of amazing organizations. I am beyond thrilled to hear about Boys Town and then also the work that Jeff has been doing with them. So, all right, well, hey, you know what? If I don't have Scott around, I have Josh. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this thing rolling. I'm going to bring him on in and say hello and start this geek out fiesta happening. How is it going?
Hi, friend.
Hey, friend, how are you?
I'm early, I guess. I'm early.
No, you are perfectly timed, actually. You are perfect. This is great. And I'm really excited. You know, this lunch thing I've been doing has sort of been an opportunity for me to hang out with people that I really enjoy and talk about things that they love. But I realized, I've known you for a while, but we really, I get to ask you all sorts of fun questions. So thanks so much for participating with lunch today.
Hey, my pleasure, but I love what you're doing, okay? I love what you're doing because it's so important, and not to bring it down, bring it up. It's fun. It's something, it's options for people that they don't usually think about, or the stigmas that are put on it. So yes, good job.
Well, hey, good job to you too. High five. Because, you know, obviously I know you with our work in TV shows, and
Yeah.
it's always refreshing to meet other hosts who really love construction. Like, honest to goodness, power tools are amazing. And so it was such a joy to get to connect with you. But what I'd love to start off with, how did you get into construction? What was your journey?
Yeah, it wasn't traditional at all. It was funny. I was actually after college. I'm a California kid, and I went to school in Santa Barbara, and then I was like, okay, now I want to live in San Francisco. So I moved to San Francisco and crashed on my aunt's couch but I got this job at an insurance company, or I got this, my first day at this job at this insurance company. And this is back a long time ago, in the 90s. I go downtown, 30-story building. I go up to the top. It's a fluorescent lights, coffee room, water cooler, little cubicles, all those things that I thought were kind of a joke. Like, I thought those were like cliches, from TV. And I was looking, and I was like, and he was showing me around to the coffee room and all of this. And I was like, and I looked, I was like, I'm sorry, I can't do this. And he was happy. He was like, great. You saved me 6 weeks of training. Go down the elevator, get on a payphone, because that's what we used back then. Called my aunt, and I said, look, I just quit the only job I had. her in-laws had a HVAC company downtown San Francisco. She goes, go over there. So my first day of insurance that I quit, I started my first day at HVAC, and in my dumb suit, I delivered like a full flatbed full of Alumaflex to Fisherman's Wharf from downtown, which is not an easy drive.
No, no.
And I walked in. I was like, look, I need a job for like 6 weeks. And 8 years later, I was there. I was still there.
That is amazing. Like, I always knew you were the coolest guy in the room, but I had no idea because you had an HVAC background. Oh, Pete's sake.
Oh, full on tin knocker. And that's what I fell in love with. Not only, I fell in love with all of it. I fell in love with, sheet metal's great because if you see someone that's really good at it, they can do amazing things, right? And then you get laser plasma cutters and all of those things. But then, you know, you have to work with your plumbers and your electricians and your framers. You know, you have to fight for room in a soffit or a shaft, and you have to figure these things out, and you got to work together. And there were so many things, and I could go on and on about how much I learned in that first year or two. And I had some guys that looked at me, and, you know, I was, of course, called college boy. And they were like, hey, college boy. And that was not a compliment.
Sure.
But I had this guy, Felton White, and about the third day I was delivering stuff to him, he said, hey, you don't know what you're doing. Come early and walk the site with me. And we walked this site down in Fisherman's Wharf, these condos, and he taught me so much.
Wow.
And it was freaking amazing. So I fell in love with it. I mean, and like when I go to San Francisco now, the last time I took my kids, I drove by like North Beach. I did those. The Fillmore.
Whoa.
I did the ventilation system. I was the project manager on the ventilation system at the Fillmore.
That's freaking cool.
I watched Tom Petty rehearse while I was up in when I was up in the attic trying to figure out how to get all this air and back then smoke out of so I had these 4 foot by 4 foot goosenecks coming out all over the place with these 48-inch prop fans just pulling air. But I was like, turn it off. Tom Petty's on. Turn it off. Tom Petty's rehearsing. So anyway, yeah, I could go on and on and on. So yeah. So and then, but at that same time, I'm such a ham. I was doing comedy and improv in San Francisco, and I got into commercials, which back in those days you could make some good money. And so by like 98 and 99, I was making more money as an actor in commercials than I was as a project manager in construction.
Whoa.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to give up either of them. So I moved to LA to be an actor, but instead of waiting tables, I built decks, tiled showers, did whatever worked for contractors. So and then reality TV came and just melded and married the whole thing, and it was like, oh,
right. And then it came together, and that's where I met you. See, I met you where you pulled off some of the most ridiculous stunts I've ever seen. Just looking at how much you could really test a house and things, how bad you could break it was mind blowing.
That's
sure.
Right.
But what I love about it is that you're genuinely passionate about this. You know, there is something special, and going back to the fact you had a mentor that really kind of took you under their wing and gave you the opportunity to learn and see it, because this industry is broad. It's absolutely gigantic. And without someone to really introduce you or even coach you along, people can get lost and just be like, oh, right?
Absolutely. And then the other thing that happens is sometimes it's unfortunate, just like anything else, it just becomes a job. And then you start hating your job because that's bound to happen. So the idea of appreciating what you're doing and having appreciation for what, as far as a collaborative and also your part in that, is so big. And let me tell you, there's nothing like construction, because at the end of the day, you can look back and see that wasn't there and now it is.
And these hands did it.
Yeah, we did it with these tools and these things and these ideas and and I don't think there's anything like it.
There isn't. You know, I really consider us to be artists. we create art that people live in. You know, a lot of people don't go to their bathroom and look around and be like, an artist put up every tile, but someone should have. That tile setter loved it and meant it. And, you know, what do you think about skilled trades? And what about it? We could teach others about it that is like important for them to know.
It's funny because I've been on this track for a while, and it depends on the person, and it depends on the age, and it depends on how you can't push it hard. If you push it hard on people, there's some really quick turnarounds, right? Like, oh, well, my dad was a plumber and he can't even, you know, his knees are so shot right now or whatever. So you get these stigmas, right, about the manual labor. But first of all, every job that you're getting now, this job is like the job that you get at a advertising agency or whatever. These are jobs that are just being created and they're new and they're doing all these things. What we've been doing is as old as time, right? We've been building. I love the idea of like I said, at the end of the day, you can see something, but I love the idea that there are people out there that get it and that, hey, man, I'm terrible at a spreadsheet.
Yes.
But I can tell you, you know, how I'm going to, you know, bevel that edge to make it fit, and or if I half lap that leg, that's going to make it sleek, and or even just I need a post and a beam right there. And it's just, it's not for everybody, but it's for a lot more people than you think.
Big time it is, you know, and I also love the fact that you are a perfect example of that progression. You can start as a tin knocker, you know, and now look at where your career has gone. You know, you don't have to stay at that manual labor position forever. You know, I crave it. If I'm not making sawdust every few days, I'm sure you're the same. I get sad. Like, what am I doing?
It's so true. So here's the funny thing. First of all, I do want to tell everyone I started off with my tin knocker. My nickname at the HVAC company was duct tape. And the reason why is because I cut myself so many times. And what do you do when you cut yourself with sheet metal? You put duct tape on.
Yeah.
So I had usually eight fingers with duct tape on them. I was so bad, and I was slow, and I'm actually still kind of a slow builder, but here's the cool thing. COVID hit, right? And I'm literally building a house. My wife and I are building a house from ground up. Now she's the brain, I'm the brawn.
Sweet.
But we had to clear a house, right? We were like, okay, we got to clear the house, you know, and quarantine or whatever. I was left to do all the rest of the work. And so I had 2,100 square feet of flooring to lay by myself.
Oof.
You know, like and I don't think I would do that ever now, volunteered at my age, but I was able to.
Yeah.
And I built, and I was like, look, we need a bookshelf right here. And I was like, oh, that's fun. That's fun. So I was like, yeah, let's jump on that. So the point I'm at now with construction, and it's more of a supervisor position or whatever. The same thing is that I still can I can get dirty, and I can caulk, and I can paint, and I can hang a door or a window, or I could fix a leak or whatever. And it's just I'm so grateful.
Well, it's a valuable skill, and I really think it's important that we talk to parents more about the fact that the students can learn this skill at an early age, and if they go into it as a career, fine. Or someday they're going to own their own house and want to do their own work, and they can do it. Or if they don't want to, they're better consumers, so they can ask the right questions, feel comfortable and knowledgeable, and you embody it. It's amazing. And okay, so you talk about I'm happy you have a chance in a brief moment to work on your house.
Yeah, you should come help me.
I would love to. I'm doing a lot of work around my house too, like, never ending story. Like, but before this, hey, you were doing a lot of work with Boys Town. Can you talk to me about that organization and how you got involved with them?
Oh, my Boys Town. So I have up here like April 12th, 2013. I was doing House Crashers, and I was in Omaha doing a house crash, and they reached out and said, "Hey, would you mind doing a PSA for us?" And I was for Boys Town. I was like, "Okay, what's Boys Town?" And so I went to Boys Town, and I got a tour from this amazing man, Tom Lynch. He's a historian, and Boys Town's now over 100 years old.
Wow.
And I walked through and it is a town. It's a town with its own post office. It's huge. And I walked through, the museum, and I walked through the classrooms, and I saw the kids, and I saw where they lived, and I ate with the families, and I got the whole experience. And as I was looking around, I asked Tom, I was like, well, what do these kids do when they're 18? Because that's after that,
yeah,
they're theoretically or legally have to be on their own or whatever. And they said, well, that's just it. I mean, it's either military or sometimes college or sometimes junior college or whatever. And I'm looking, and I said, but I saw you've got an electrician's shop, you've got a plumber's shop, because it's a town, and they got 13 carpenters on site at all times. And I was like, well, what about the trades? And they had actually had trade. They had an auto. They had back in the 40s and 50s. They had all of these, and then they switched with the times to computers and things like that. And they have a great nursing program actually. But so I just said, there's how I can help. And I just, Rigid Power Tools, like a shout out to them. They just dumped tools in, and Jet. And I mean, I even got Carhartt to throw great stuff. Anyway, so it's now they've got Construction 1, Construction 2. They've got welding. Lincoln Electric we got Jimmy DeResta to help me, but we got 9 welders with a virtual welder.
Well,
they
those
got
are
welding.
so cool.
Yeah, they got welding 1 and 2 there. I mean, this shop. So their trade school now, it's these classes are unbelievable. Automotive, and it goes on. Now they have culinary. They have a great nursing. So all of these things these are kids in high school now that get to push some plywood over a table saw and see if they like it. Pull a tape and do 16 on centers and see if they like it. And it is an opportunity for them. And then Boys Town, not only did they take this, they took this and ran. They have an apprentice certification program for welders. They're going straight from Boys Town into paying jobs.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, you want to talk about, it's hard to tell. I talk to these kids, and I love these kids. And they get a little mouthy, they get a little mouthy sometimes. But you try and talk to them about trades, and then they go, well, yeah, but I'm going to be a TikTok star, or I'm going to be a YouTube sensation, or whatever. And you're like, yeah, fine. I remember when I was 16 too. I remember. But you get on the show, and then their buddy comes back to visit Boys Town 2 years later, and he drives his own car and has his own apartment and has a little money in his pocket because he got this job, and now he's a welder. Yeah. That's more incentive than anything I can tell a 16-year-old.
It is because you can't fake that. It's honest to goodness, and believe it or not, teenagers are skeptical and sarcastic. Who knew?
Yeah.
But it is so powerful, and I'm really excited to actually talk to the director of Alumni Services and talk more about this, because it is refreshing to see. I think everybody needs this opportunity, to be honest. Being back in high school and looking at it now, these programs are kind of the only safe space to fail. If you're in like small engine repair and you don't make it, you failed, right? Until you get to work. But if you're in a math class, you don't pass the test, you still failed, and you just have to keep doing it over again. And I don't know, I think there's so much learning and opportunity, and then careers. And so congratulations to the students. And they can hang out with you and learn amazing things like, Josh, thank you so much for supporting them and passing on your love for the industry. It's really, it's genuine. It's nice.
Well, I would say the same to you. Right back at you.
Oh, thank you. I wish we could chat forever. I'm like, hey, everybody, you can't leave. Lunch is going to be litter today. No, but I don't want to take up more of your time. I do want to get a chance to talk to some folks from Boys Town, but thank you so much for hanging out for lunch. Hey, where can folks find you and more information?
Well, I'm Josh Temple TV on Instagram and Twitter, but if you want to look, boystown.org, or you go to the Boys Town Instagram. I think it's one of them's one and one of them's the other. Twitter is one, or Instagram I think is Boys Town. But boystown.org talks about Trade Life, the program, the way these kids are progressing, what they can get into, and how we're placing them after. So go to boystown.org and check them out. They're amazing. They're amazing, amazing, amazing.
We will do that and encourage that. And thank you again. And it was nice to hang out with Lunch Meat. Virtual hug, my friend.
Virtual hug.
Yeah, I'll come light floor with you anytime. Just let me know.
Okay. How about tomorrow? How about tomorrow?
Sweet, Josh. All right. Thanks. All right. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Oh, that's awesome. And now I'm very excited to bring on Tony Jones from Boys Town so we can chat more about the organization and then also their work with Josh. This is just so exciting, and to hear that they really bought on. So hello.
Hello. Good. I'm Tony Jones. I'm the alumni director here at Boys Town.
Tony, thank you so much for joining us. Can you tell me a little bit about your role at Boys Town?
Well, I'm the alumni director, and what I do is I oversee our alumni who've graduated from our program, as well as I oversee the Trade Life program and our aftercare program.
That is amazing. It was really cool to hear Josh talk about the Trade Life program and your encouragement with it. Does everybody there get the opportunity to participate in these programs?
All of our seniors here on campus get the opportunity to become a part of our Trade Life program if they so desire to. If they find an interest in the trades, then what we do is we kind of put out an application for our kids to fill out, and they'll get that application back to us, and then we'll see what trades that they most fit best in, and we will kind of gear them toward that trade. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic, because there are so many different avenues to go down.
Oh, yeah.
And for a student to get an introduction into this field in high school, that's incredibly valuable.
It is.
I mean, the fact too, and Josh talked about that your graduates are coming out with career opportunities from this.
Yes, we link our graduates with jobs here in Omaha and around the country, if they, wherever they, respectively are going, to help them to develop their skills in the workforce. So yeah, we connect our kids with a lot of our job places here in Omaha. Yeah.
That is absolutely incredible. And I do know an organization that if you have any of your students who want to go to Georgia, we can also help them there too. But it's delightful that in Nebraska. Now, how long are they enrolled? Is it just their senior year?
It's their senior year, but in our Trade Life program, what we do is, we help our kids to get their, certificates of what they need in order to graduate in that program. But then we work with them after they leave Boys Town up to 4 years to, help them stay in the trades or do whatever they have to do in order to be successful in that field.
That is amazing support, and thank you, because I see a lot of people coming out of the industry and your first job maybe isn't always the best job. Sometimes that does happen, but having backup and support is really valuable. Now, how many programs are you teaching there?
We have welding, culinary arts, construction. We have small engines repair, auto mechanics. We have CNA. What else do we have? We have so many programs here. We have, I said culinary arts. Yeah, that's it, culinary arts. Yeah, we do have culinary arts.
That's incredible. That's a solid get up. And really, that's what the industry nationwide is calling for workers. All these programs you're offering a pathway to much success for your students. And Tony, this is amazing. I'm really, really excited. Where can folks find out more information about Boys Town and the Trade Life program?
They can go to our website, boystown.org, and they can look up our Trade Life program. They can look up all of the things that we provide here on our campus for our kids. And they can go to Boys Town on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, Instagram, and Twitter page.
And the program does pair mentors with participants. So what is the role of a mentor?
The mentor's role is to exactly mentor, to kind of help this young man or young lady to develop in the field that they're in. Most of the mentors that we try to link our kids to are mentors that have been in the profession for pretty much a long time. So they know the profession and they have already, mustered and gathered a love for that profession. And it's their responsibility, I think, as a mentor to help that child develop that same kind of love and dedication to that profession that they're in.
It is incredibly important, and it's something that, we kind of lost that word in our vernacular for a long time. I kind of feel like it happened when when we brought tutoring in. We couldn't say a tutor, we had to say a mentor, and it just like, ew, I don't want that. But in this industry, it's a beautiful relationship, and it really is a teacher student, and it is so important to have that. And I love that you are consciously continuing that tradition because it's something that cannot be lost.
It can't be.
No. So how many students are in your program now?
We have up to 20 students will go through our program within the calendar year. 20 students.
That's incredible. And that'll definitely benefit the industry around you. It's a good thing because now these students can go in and work in careers that your neighborhood, I'm sure, needs.
Definitely.
And I'm also really jealous about those virtual welders you had, by the way. The best toy around. The heck with like virtual reality video games. That's the best thing ever.
Oh yeah. And thanks to Josh. Thanks, Josh.
He is definitely a wonderful man, and it's wonderful to see people in his position. He has TV shows, but to be able to lend that weight and credibility behind something as wonderful as Boys Town is awesome to see. I'm proud to be friends with him.
Awesome.
Tony, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Just to thanks to Josh, and thank you all for this live pod. And hey, thank you for supporting and celebrating Boys Town.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure to get to learn more about the organization. I look forward to all of our friends checking out. We have posted your websites and information so they can click on that. And Tony, thank you again for taking the time for having lunch today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And last but not least, I am going to bring my co-host and good friend Scott on. This was a fabulous chat, and I'm really excited to get his input on this because, gosh, it's really cool to see that, wow, maybe there are some students there coming to Georgia, but that's some great stuff. So how are you doing today, Scott?
Hey, Kayleen, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing really, really well. It was
good.
Neat to hang out with some friends, but, Sefka is also really doing a lot of work, and you were able to hang out and see the chat. So what were your thoughts on this today?
I love the way this worked out. I normally join you on the front end, but I enjoyed just sitting back and listening to Josh and Tony talk about Boys Town. And I loved hearing Josh's story about how he got into the industry. Wasn't that fun? And it reminded me that's why SEFCA exists. We want to help people come into our industry on purpose, right? Not kind of stumble into our industry because they went down another path and then they decide to go into heating and air conditioning. We want to help them discover that at a really early age and get the training and the credentials and the connections they need. And so that's what we're focused on here in Georgia. But that was so much fun. Thank you so much for having Josh and Tony on our channel today. I really enjoyed that.
It's really nice to hear kind of different stories. SEFCA is focused on a lot of philanthropy too and giving back in the community. And now I'm really interested on, hey, some kids from Nebraska might be headed your way, Scott. But can you talk about some of the things that SEFCA's up to?
Yeah, so we give back to the community a lot here in Georgia. This summer, I told you a little bit about the impact fund that we did with teachers. We handed out over $250,000 in checks to high school construction teachers across the state of Georgia who are getting more young people trained and credentialed and employed in our industry. So that was a lot of fun. We also offer scholarships for our Construction Ready program. So here in Georgia, if you want to get into the construction industry, we have a basic 4-week program that you can enroll in, and chances are we can help you get that funded. We will either offer scholarships or we will find, government resources that are out there to help fund these programs. And so, so we help students, we help teachers. We also, this is a new thing we're doing. We're offering scholarships. We're offering sponsorships for teachers who want to get creative in terms of how they teach construction in this pandemic. Because what's happened is a lot of kids are still not back in school here in Georgia. So we're having to get really creative about how we teach our students and how our teachers teach our students. And so we're offering grants and scholarships to teachers who want to get creative and offer, virtual training and that sort of thing. And so that's probably our latest thing that we're working on here in Georgia, is just really helping our teachers, our high school teachers especially, connect with their teachers or connect with their students in this really crazy environment that we're in.
It is, and I love the fact that you are helping provide sometimes the funds and also a little bit of the incentive to think outside the box, because
Yep.
Teenagers are sometimes hard to get into this and to buy in, but with this as a new challenge, it's great. It's with the support you're giving teachers. So,
Yeah.
All of our followers can find more information at cefca.org, of course. And then you can also text CareerPath to 31996. And Scott, I'm really excited for next week. Also, we're going to be chatting with someone from the Arthur M. Blank Foundation, and I'm really excited to talk about the partnership between you and CEFCA, or them and CEFCA, and really find out what they're up to. So this has been absolutely so much fun. And yes, Scott, anything else today?
No, looking forward to that conversation. Arthur Blank's done amazing things here in Atlanta with the Falcons and Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And so they're huge supporters of our foundation. And I believe it's Ayana who we'll be speaking with next week. And she's such a wealth of knowledge about, career and technical education and why they support, CEFCA and everything that we do. So it should be a great conversation. And I am definitely looking forward to that.
Yes, me too. Well, hey, thanks for ending lunch with me today, Scott. This was always fabulous to hang out with my Tuesday friends, and I will see you next week.
Sounds good, Kayleen. Thank you so much. Have a great week.
Thanks, you too. See you later, Scott.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.